What's going on, everyone? It's your buddy WillND, and I'm here with Jeffrey from Only Talk Sports, and it's Indiana Ohio State week. I'm excited. Jeffrey's excited. Rumble's not excited because it's not working, unfortunately. But we'll see.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
we'll
it
get
works.
that. We'll get that fixed. We'll get that
Yeah.
fixed. It's all good.
How you feeling, Jeffrey?
Oh, I'm looking forward to the game. I'm nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, Indiana's had a great season, but I mean, I was nervous for the Michigan game. I mean, some of the other games coming up, earlier in the season. I mean, it's not like at the time we thought they were going to be cakewalks. Michigan surely wasn't, but it's big. It's big for the program, for Indiana, because of the fact that it's their first ever top 5 matchup against Ohio State. A win could put them all the way up to number 2 in the nation, in the country.
And if it's a decisive win for Indiana, they will hop Oregon. If it's decisive,
yeah, if it's a decisive one, they'd even be number 1, which would be their first ever number 1 ranking in program history. The highest they've ever been ranked was 4th back in like the 60s or whatever. So it's just a big deal. It's a big deal for the program. A loss doesn't eliminate them from the playoff. It does not. I don't care what anybody says. It does not eliminate them from the playoffs. But at the same time, a win would guarantee that they get in. So, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, Jeffrey does not like Seth McLaughlin because of the ending of.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't want anybody hurt ever. I'm not that way, but I hate he got hurt. But yeah, he was not good for Bama, man. Not good. But yeah, that sucks. I definitely hate he got hurt. But yeah, Ohio State's O-line is banged up. They're banged up, and Indiana's is more healthy than Ohio State's. But Indiana did suffer an injury to the right guard, Drew Evans, which is tough. But that is a tough blow to Ohio State. But appreciate you being here, Hummus Hero. Definitely excited about the game. That's big news.
So taking a look at last week's games. Yeah, ECU's been winning since they fired Mike Houston.
ECU, I'm shocked.
Bowl eligible.
They look better without him, which is insane. The thing is, though, and we'll never know now, but would they have made a bowl game with Mike Houston? We don't know. I mean, they look better, but arguably their competition has also been better.
Yeah, their back half of the schedule is not.
The American Conference this year has a lot of bad teams. The bottom of the league stinks, and I do think that has benefited a team like East Carolina. I don't think ECU is very good, but hey, bowl eligible, who cares? It's good for ECU.
Good for ECU.
Washington's bowl eligible now.
UCLA will have a chance to survive their bowl eligibility this week. That'll be exciting.
Man, Nebraska is choking, man. Nebraska is falling apart. Still can't believe Nebraska. I know it's not who UCLA is playing, but I don't know, man. That whole swath of the Big Ten, like Michigan, Washington, Nebraska, UCLA, it's a log jam in there.
Did you see this Notre Dame Virginia game? It was weird, man. It was
not much of it. I didn't see much.
It was just the refs were bad, man. The refs were bad.
Yeah, I did see you posted something. I did see that about it was a bad call. What was it again?
It was a fake punt that went for a touchdown. They call it legal formation on it.
Okay.
But then afterwards, the letter of the law, like it should have been legal and it should have been a touchdown. I mean, Virginia turned it over right after, and Notre Dame scored off that turnover, so it didn't matter at all. But
it's the principle of the thing that it was frustrating because it should have counted. I get it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's pretty weird on that. I mean, honestly, Notre Dame in games, you never know what's going to happen with Notre Dame. I mean, the thing is that I've said it all year, they should be undefeated. And the thing is, if they were undefeated right now, I mean, they'd be ranked in the top 4. And the thing that's going to be interesting for me with Notre Dame is that because of all these losses, if the SEC beats itself up a little bit more, Notre Dame has moved up to a point. If they lose again, they still have a chance. I'm serious.
Yeah, but let's not. I don't want to think about that. I don't want to think about another loss.
I know, but see, this is the scenario that's going to frustrate you, though. Will is the fact, like, think about if Notre Dame was undefeated, no conference championship.
Yeah.
You know, it's still a broken system for Notre Dame. I mean, I don't know. Notre Dame is they're fine as long as they went out. They're good. They're in great shape. Just still weird with the rules and all that. It's just kind of bad for Notre Dame. But yeah, I'm just saying though, with all these teams losing, I mean, like an Ole Miss lost to Florida, you know, or just some of these teams keep lose again. Like if somehow Bama lost to Oklahoma, Notre Dame could lose to USC and still get in. Probably, which would be nuts. But yeah, don't want that happening.
Oregon, they almost slipped up in Madison.
This is why
I lost money
Indiana's
on
close
Oregon.
win over Michigan don't matter. Oh, Indiana barely beat Michigan. It proves they're no good. Okay, so look at this. Is that impressive? No. Alabama blew the doors off Wisconsin. Now, one game. Alabama can play Wisconsin again. It could be close. Oregon's a good team. But this is why no team is perfect this year. Every team has had a bad game this season.
Jeffrey, you muted your mic cut off.
Can you still hear me?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me right now?
What happened to Jeffrey?
You can't hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Okay. You couldn't hear me for a minute?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what I was saying is that this is why every team has had a bad game this year. So I don't see why this matters. Oregon, like, yes, every great team has struggle games. Ohio State against Nebraska, Oregon against Wisconsin, Indiana against Michigan. They've all done it. Every single one of these teams has had poor games. It shouldn't matter whether Indiana barely beat Michigan. They won the game. It's all that matters. Just like all those other teams won the game.
I'll get more into this when we get to the Indiana-Ohio State game. I want to save my dissenting. I think you're right, Jeffrey, but I'm going to say what the other side is going to say once we get to the
okay. That's fine. We got to have the detractors. We got to have the detractors. That's fine. I mean, it's fine.
Ohio State beat up on Northwestern. Good for Carnell Tate for having a good game.
Northwestern was winning. It was 7-0 at one point.
Arkansas kept it a little interesting against Texas. But
this is the thing. I mean, not impressive. Not impressive, Texas. I mean, again, Penn State blew the doors off Purdue. Everybody's blowing the doors off Purdue.
Gosh, Purdue sucked, man. They're so bad.
They're the worst team in the Big Ten.
They're the worst team in the Power 5. 4 now.
Troy, at least we didn't give up 24 to Northwestern. At least Indiana beat Nebraska by 49. Ohio State won by 4. It's the same argument. We can do this all day. It's all good, Troy. It's all good. But, yeah, I mean, Purdue. I mean, there isn't anybody as bad as them, is there? I can't think. I mean, yeah. I mean, UCLA turned it around. 4 wins on the year.
I mean, I think they're worse than every ACC team.
Yeah, I can't think. I mean, they have to be the worst. I mean, even like Stanford wasn't good, but they beat Louisville.
We'll get to that one, man.
Sorry, man. I mean, Boston's here. He's infuriated right now. I'm just saying, man. Stanford beat Louisville.
BYU lost to Kansas, so BYU.
This right here, every team is a bad game, and BYU didn't win, and this has been coming all year. BYU had some close wins.
It's been coming
all year. Indiana's had one close game. They had tons of close games. Yeah, BYU, they're better than Pittsburgh, but I pegged Pittsburgh right. I knew Pittsburgh was overrated. Pitt was overrated. And BYU, they're good. But like I said, a lot of close wins, and this game finally exposed them. I honestly think, though, Kansas has kind of proven to, again, not be that bad. Kansas is not that bad. They lost a couple of stupid, boneheaded games early in the year. If they win those games, Kansas would not be bad. They'd be like 7-3 right now, 6-4. They're not a terrible team. This proves it, and that's going to make their next week's game interesting.
Georgia beat Tennessee. Felt like Georgia was going to win this game. They always win.
We didn't make our picks last week, but I would have picked Georgia. It's at home. I mean, the thing is, man, I was kind of hoping Georgia would lose. I don't know about you, man. I mean,
although I'll say this. Tennessee, probably the worst fan base on Twitter, man. I mean, they have the most bad fans per good fan ratio. So not sad to see that team lose.
That's fair. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with that. There's a lot of terrible fan bases online, though. Doesn't mean all their fans are bad. It's just the issue is, as a lot of people don't understand, is that a fan base, all the people that are on social media that like a team and tweet about teams, they make up a small fraction.
Well, I feel like Tennessee's fraction. There's so many bad Tennessee fans there's a lot of Ohio State and a lot of Notre Dame fans. So of course there'll be some bad ones, but I don't see that many good Tennessee fans. There's just so many bad ones.
Well, I remember one time I posted on my Twitter account. I did like a Player of the Year poll or whatever for basketball. And like he had no shot to win Player of the Year. It was going to be Zach Edey in college basketball, right, last year. But I had literally Tennessee fans take over my Twitter account, and they were saying Dalton Connect is by far Player of the Year. It's not even close. And I was laughing so hard because, like, dude, I had like 1,000 votes on that poll, and 98% of the votes were Tennessee for Dalton Connect. They hijacked my poll, Will. They hijacked it. They kept retweeting. They were like, let's retweet this poll. They were all retweeting it among all the Tennessee fans, so it wasn't even accurate. So, I mean, I can't say they're bad off that, but it was funny because, like, no, Dalton Connect is not going to win Player of the Year. Jim's saying USC fans.
South Carolina or Southern Cal?
Yeah, he probably is talking about Southern Cal, right?
Yeah, based on that second one, yeah.
Yeah.
They are going through it this year.
Oh, man.
Although they did win this week.
Bama destroyed Mercer. Not surprising. I mean, it shouldn't have been close.
Mm-hmm. Boise State beat San Jose State.
Yeah. Run-of-the-mill game. I mean, Genty's Heisman chances are falling despite him still playing great. I mean, he's still putting up great stats, and his Heisman hopes are falling. It's killing me. I mean, honestly, I would give it to either Genty or Travis Hunter. I wouldn't give it to no one else. I wouldn't give it to Cam Ward. I wouldn't give it to Dylan Gabriel. I wouldn't even give it to Curtis Rourke. Curtis Rourke's been great, but he missed some time. I mean, if he played the whole time, he'd had a better case. But I would give it to Genty or Travis Hunter. I mean, come on, man. Mix it up. It doesn't have to be a QB every time.
SMU still staying unbeaten in the ACC.
Good team, but again, conference they're in helps.
A&M won.
K-State, man. Falling apart. What is going on with K-State?
I mean, credit to Arizona State, man.
Dillingham has done good. Do you now? I will say this: do you think 2 questions? This one-hit wonder with Dillingham, for one, and number 2, do you think he bolts for a bigger job?
Well, it's his alma mater, so I doubt he'll bolt right away because it's his alma mater.
I did know that it was his alma mater, but we've seen that hasn't mattered in the past before.
And I mean, he seems like he wants to build from what I've seen from Dillingham, he's like, I want to build like a consistent Big 12 contender at Arizona State. From all the stuff I've seen about him, so I don't think he bolts right away. Maybe later.
I get it. I mean, the thing that was making me laugh with Indiana, if you were saying Cignetti would leave, is like, again, his age. But number 2, it's like you're in the Big 10. For a guy like Dillingham, if he gets an opportunity at the Big 10 or SEC level, it's hard to pass up. It's a major upgrade from the Big 12. I mean, we're seeing.
Maybe if Kelly gets fired, he would go to LSU because they're such a big. That's what
I'm saying. Like, I understand Indiana's not LSU, but Indiana is in the Big 10, and they are really starting to commit to football. Whereas Arizona State in the Big 12, the media deal, it's just low. That's the thing. Now, alma mater, I hope he stays. I mean, Arizona State, I got no issues with Arizona State. I mean, if they're good every year in the Big 12, I'm fine with that. But to me, and again, this isn't even biased. I would have been more shocked if Cignetti left Indiana than Dillingham leaves Arizona State. I would not be shocked.
Mm-hmm.
That would not be
Colorado stays in the mix, of course, beating
Yeah, and I've seen Dion saying he's not going anywhere. I mean, do you think that's true? Shedeur goes pro. I mean, I still think he leaves, right? I mean, do you think
maybe if he lands Julian Lewis, because everyone thinks he's going to Colorado now. I mean,
dude,
Indiana
I was
hasn't
hoping
shown.
Julian Lewis would go to Indiana.
I mean, you'll have Cherry at least. Cherry starting
Cherry.
next year probably. He could be good.
Hope so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Utah's sad. I still think Whittingham's gone.
You think he retires? He probably retires.
Yeah, he's not going to get fired, but I think he leaves. I think he retires. Absolutely.
Washington State lost their faint playoff hopes are gone, sadly, for Washington State.
Again, an overrated team based off their play. Oh, I use overrated. There's a difference between playing in the Big Ten and this, okay? There's a difference. Washington State, I'm glad they had a good year, but they're not great. Mm-hmm. They're not even in the Power Four.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, not surprising they lost a game like that. Stanford, though, man. Stanford. I mean, what makes this even worse, Will, is that Stanford's already not bowl eligible.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes it worse. Like,
with Stanford, you know how good their academics are, right? They could get the academic spot.
True. But, I mean, if they were like 3-6 coming into this game and they still have a chance to make a bowl game, I would be like, okay. But the thing is that they were 2-7. They're technically eliminated unless the APR score. You could be right. But honestly, I would not have expected this. There's no way I would have picked this upset. You wouldn't have either. No one would have picked this. Just shocking.
Is this worth the ending? You saw the ending, right?
On Stanford, Louisville?
Yeah.
No, I didn't see it.
Okay, I gotta pull this up. This might be worse than Miami, Georgia Tech last year. This might be
okay.
Worse.
Wait, whoa! There was a play like that.
It's not a. I gotta pull up.
Okay. You can pull it up. I did not see it. I did not see the end. So
I gotta pull it up. I gotta figure.
Man, it's gotta be crazy if you getting this hyped, man. I'm intrigued. You got me intrigued.
Okay. So after a turnover on downs. Okay, I gotta pull it up. It's maybe not as bad.
Will is searching.
So Louisville was going to try Louisville. They had the ball at the 45,
trying to get in field goal range to tie it up, right?
No. The game was tied at this moment.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't see it. So
Louisville was driving. First and 10 at the Stanford 45. Incomplete. Instead of punting it and going for overtime, they throw it again, and it's a turnover on downs.
Okay, so that's the stupidity.
Stanford gets the ball. I think it was like a 1-yard screen pass. So they gain a yard. Flag. Unsportsmanlike conduct on Louisville. So now Stanford's going for the long field goal at the 39. Long field goal. Louisville jumps offside. I think the kick was no good, but that Louisville jumped offside, so Stanford gets a re-kick. Stanford makes the kick. Stanford wins.
So basically what you're saying is that if Louisville hadn't been dumb, they'd have gone to overtime at the very least and probably would have won. I mean, the thing that's stupid about that sequence is, like, for one thing, going for it. I mean, that's dumb.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, unsportsmanlike. And then you jump off sides on a field goal kick. I mean, like, you deserve to lose. I mean, it kind of reminds you of that Purdue-Syracuse game. You remember that game with the unsportsmanlike penalties at the end of that one? I remember Purdue fans were livid, man. That game, I remember that game. Kind of reminds you of that. But I did not see all that. I wish I had it. I feel bad for Austin. I don't think he's in chat, but I do feel bad for Austin. But all the smack this season, Louisville, Indiana backed out of the Louisville game. Yeah, they didn't want to play us. And it's like, you lost to Stanford, man. Like, come on. I mean, it's just brutal. And they're still saying it, Will. Oh, well, you should have played us in the non-conference. It's like, okay. Yeah, all right. Signetti wouldn't have backed out of that game. It was Tom Allen. He was trying to save his job. Didn't work. But
so, what a way, yeah. And Stanford, like, you know how no one goes to Stanford games, like Maryland games? And there was like, it looked like it was like 50 students stormed the field. It was like only like 50.
50 students stormed the field.
Yeah, that's what it looked like, yeah.
Oh, that's sad. That's sad, man. That's awesome, though. That's hilarious. Well, I mean, happy for Stanford. I mean, they the 50 people that care get to run the field. I mean, it's sad, man. When I was a kid, Stanford was so good.
Yeah, they're good.
They were so good, man. I mean, Andrew Luck and Christian McCaffrey, Bryce Love, and now they just suck.
Zach Ertz, yeah.
Horrible.
Clemson gets away with it against Pitt.
They should have lost. They should have lost. Clemson's not a great team. They're good, but they're not a great team. And Pittsburgh, I thought Pittsburgh was overrated when they were undefeated, and I was correct. But Pitt's not a bad team. They're not a bad team. But
do you think they would have won this game with Holstein?
Probably. Probably.
Although Yarnell wasn't bad.
He threw for 350.
Yeah.
So. But I mean, Clemson should have lost this game. They should have lost, man. But Pitt gave it away. But yeah, Clemson. I mean, they're not a playoff team, man. If they somehow win the ACC and there's some tiebreak, I don't know how all that's going to work. It doesn't look like they will. But if there's some chance they get into the title game, Clemson's not great. They're most likely going to get beat in the playoff.
Well, Clemson probably won't get. They're going to need SMU or Miami to lose to get into the title game.
Yeah, there's still a chance, but not likely.
They're still going to have to play South Carolina, too, although that won't affect their playoff chances.
Scotty B says Louisville is overrated. I mean, honestly, I think that appreciate you being here, Scotty B, but honestly, I felt like Louisville was overrated last year. I told Austin that about 5 billion times. I mean, I was happy for Louisville, but, I mean, people were saying that Louisville could beat Bama. It's like, okay. Could they beat Bama? Yeah, if Bama played like garbage like they did against Vandy, but 9 out of 10 times they wouldn't beat Bama. Louisville's not a fantastic team last year. They were a good team. I think Indiana this year is better than Louisville was last year. I don't think Indiana's I don't think they're the 5th best team in the country either, though. I don't, but they're not. Louisville last year to me was like the 22nd best team or something like that. Whereas Indiana this year, I feel like they're probably the 11th best team ish. In that range. This year, I mean, Louisville, I felt they were about the same until that game against Stanford. I mean, they're just a fringe top 25 team.
This Missouri-South Carolina game was fun, man.
Man, it got weird. Good game. I mean, Sellers, when he doesn't turn it over, is good. Actually.
I think Sellers might be the best quarterback in the SEC this season.
Nobody thought that in the preseason. I will say Missouri is overrated, but I will say that
they're not bad.
With Brady Cook, though, they are competent. They actually could have won this game. Brady Cook, I mean, when they played Bama, I mean, dude, if Brady Cook was playing against Bama, they would not have gotten shut out. And Luther Burden's a stud. Luther Burden is unbelievable.
Go to the Commanders, please, Luther.
That'd be great for them. Panthers need them. They need anything, but then they would trade him away, so whatever. But yeah, but the South Carolina Gamecocks actually are a good team, and I've said this like 5 times in the last week. They're literally a couple of plays away from being a playoff team, potentially. Literally, should have beat LSU and really should have beat Bama.
For sure.
Both teams are good. That's all I'm gonna say. Missouri's a good team when healthy.
Both teams are better than Florida, but Florida beat LSU.
This was hilarious. I know you were basking in the limelight on that one, man. Hey, I will say,
I was watching this game live and I was laughing, man.
Brian Kelly is self-destructing right now. I don't know, man. I mean, he's his seat's warm. It's warm. Billy Napier's fine. Billy Napier's fine. All he has to do is beat Florida State. Think about this. Think about this.
I still think Florida's going to be bad. I don't think Napier's a good coach. I still don't
Think
think he's
about
good.
this, Will, though. Remember Austin. I'll give Austin credit here. He said 8-win Florida. I know he said 8-4, but think about this. If Florida wins their last 2 games and wins their bowl game, they go 8-5. You know that'd be hilarious. You know that'd be hilarious. 8-5 Florida. Austin would never let us hear the end of it. But the thing is, though, I don't think Napier's fantastic. But like Jim R says, Florida is still playing hard.
They do.
For Napier. They are still fighting. And I don't care what anybody says. I honestly think if Lagway does not go down, Florida beats Georgia. Florida beats Georgia. They probably win. I do think that. Once Lagway went down, the game changed. Florida was winning. They were winning the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think Florida's that bad. I mean, I even said in the preseason, I'm like, Florida's not a terrible team. It's just their schedule is insane. And I even said in the preseason, when I said Florida was going to go 4-8, I said the only way Florida does better than this, which no one's going to remember that I said this, but I did say in my preseason SEC video that Lagway is their only chance to be better than 4-8. Mm-hmm. And I was correct because Lagway is better than Graham Mertz. Mm-hmm. And when he's in, the team actually is decent. Mm-hmm. I mean, will they win against Ole Miss? Most likely not. But if Lagway plays in the entire game, they have a chance. Mm-hmm. Especially, I mean, Ole Miss is still riding high, you know. I mean, you never know. Mm-hmm. I'm not making a prediction yet, but I'm just saying Florida.
So I've been watching a lot of LSU stuff now, just basking in this, watching them be sad about their team. And one thing Kelly said in his press conference yesterday on Monday is that Nussmeier's like playing not to throw interceptions. And I think that's bad. Like, you shouldn't be worried about throwing interceptions like during a play as it happens. So I think Nussmeier needs to get the
Nussmeier though, Will? I mean, have you seen Nussmeier? I mean, in some games, man, he is wildly inconsistent.
Yeah.
He actually is turnover prone.
I know, but like, you shouldn't think about that in your head. Like, you shouldn't be taking the sacks. You should be throwing the ball, trying to win the game, not just taking all those sacks.
I mean, I agree, but I mean, I'm just saying though, man. I mean, I felt all season long that like Nussmeier, when he doesn't turn it over, he's fine. I mean, he's a serviceable QB, but the issue is that he turns it over a lot, man. I mean, I remember when they were playing Alabama that there was like 3 throws that he had that were really good in that game, and then the very next throw after that, they were terrible throws. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I mean, I just think Nussmeier is mistake prone. I do.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that Brian? So this one guy I was watching, Matt Moscona, who did Locked on LSU. Mm-hmm. Do you know him or? I
mean, I definitely know most of the Locked on hosts, not personally. I know a few of them a little bit better that like I've done shows with, but I've never talked to him, but I've seen him before. Yeah.
So he was saying Nick Saban, I think it was his first or second season at LSU, won the SEC. The next season he went 8-5. And the next season he won a national championship. So he was like, don't give up on Kelly. And I'm like, you're not comparing Brian Kelly to Nick Saban. Like, come on, man. Like, he's getting fired.
It's such a homer thing, though. It really is. I mean, that's a homer take right there. I mean, sorry, but like you cannot put Brian Kelly in the same sentence with Nick Saban ever. Like, if you do that, then I don't know. There's something wrong with you. That's all I can say. You're not thinking clearly. Mm-hmm. You're not thinking at all. I mean, that's a homer take. I mean, I'm sure he knows Brian Kelly's not as good as Saban. Yeah. He's just trying to keep the fan base positive. I get it. I mean, he's trying to do yeoman's work, man. It's hard to keep a mad fan base, simmered down. He's trying to do good, but you can't compare the greatest coach of all time to Brian Kelly.
Do you think he gets fired next season?
Next season, maybe. Not this year. Maybe next year. He's going to have to do better next year to avoid it. Scotty B says, what's going on with Liberty this year? They're not playing up to the level. Yeah, Liberty has kind of regressed.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think they escaped a lot of their games last year. I mean, they were barely surviving then, but yeah, I think Brian Kelly has a shot to get fired next year.
I feel bad for Navy, man. I was hoping Navy would finish strong and them and Army would.
Dude, they completely collapsed. Thing is, will Army do the same?
We'll see.
Will Army do the same? Like once they play, Bama, or not Bama, but Notre Dame. Like once they play Notre Dame,
I mean, they're gonna play us. Then they play. Then they'll. I think they have a bye, and then they play Navy.
Yeah.
And then they do American.
I was kind of rooting for Navy and Army too, but it was cracking me up. People are saying, "Oh, Army belongs in the CFP conference." I'm like, okay, if they beat Notre Dame, sure, but otherwise, no.
I feel bad for. I mean, UMass, they fired Don Brown. I feel bad for Don Brown because there's no talent on UMass at all, man.
Oh, UMass is bad, man. They're horrible.
Why are they firing him? Who wants that job? Who wants that
Troy
job?
V. Sure, you can put both of them in the same sentence. Brian Kelly, Nick Saban are football coaches. Yes, you can, Troy. Just one's great and one's not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you, Will, on UMass. That's
like they've tried. Like they tried in this game.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're gonna try it. I don't know if they're gonna try.
It's so tough to recruit at UMass, dude.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. Oh man, I hoped Auburn would lose this, but they won.
Still alive for a bowl, kind of.
Tom Herman fired.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, do you remember? I do, Will. Yeah. Do you remember when people were saying Tom Herman should replace Ryan Day at Ohio State?
Oh man.
I'm not dragging that, out of thin air. That was legit.
Yeah.
That was legit. I know you remember it, Troy V. I know you remember it.
Man, I mean, if you lose to Maryland at Texas, man, I don't think you should.
Yeah, I'm just saying, though. I mean, it was hilarious. I mean, I was like, why is this a thing? Same thing with, like, Mike Locksley, to Bama. It's like, no, Tom Herman is not becoming the Buckeye head coach, man.
I mean, I think Locksley's better than Herman, but.
Sure. I mean, that's fair, I guess, but still, Herman was the hot ticket.
Herman only did well at Houston because he had like Ed Oliver, right? Who else did he have at Houston? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, that was a while back, but
what was that quarterback's name? I forgot his name.
I can't remember. If you named it, I would know, but I can't think.
Well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Herman is that good.
Yeah.
So.
And then Illinois is back in the rankings after beating Michigan State.
Yeah, I was kind of pulling for Michigan State, honestly, because of the fact, like to help Indiana, But yeah, I mean, just not happening, man. I mean, Michigan State's literally not that good.
Syracuse beat Cal. I mean, good season for Syracuse. They're 7-3. I mean, even though their schedule's not hard, it's good for Syracuse.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Cal is bid. I mean, you remember when we had that discussion with Austin, though, man? We had that discussion with Austin about Cal being good or whatever, and hanging with Miami. I mean, I told him, man, Cal's not good. Yeah, De'Aaron King was at Houston, but I don't think he was there when Tom Herman was there. I know who Will's talking about, but I can't remember. Like I have no recollection of the name as of this point. But if we could think of it, then I would know. I can't remember. It was a decade ago, man. It's just sometimes it's hard to remember everything, but I would know. Klingler. Is Jim R.
Klingler was in the 80s. He was good.
Yeah, I was like, no, that can't be it either. Like, that was a long time ago, man. I can't remember. But yeah.
Oh, does he
Cal's not good. That's the point. Cal is not good. Syracuse is okay. I mean, their record's good because the ACC's not great. It's just the way it works. Unfortunately, the ACC's not strong. It's just not a strong league.
Greg Ward Jr. I think that was what the guy's. Yeah.
Greg Ward.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that name. I do. Scotty says Justin Wilcox might not be back next year.
Do they care enough to fire him though?
The thing is, I mean, he goes 500 every year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's why the ACC's the perfect league for him. I mean, you can go 2-6 in the ACC. It's still like the.
That's probably what's going to happen. I mean, unless Stanford could beat him, that wouldn't surprise me. But honestly, I still can't. It's so funny they beat Auburn.
They lost to Florida State. I mean, why did they have to lose to Florida State, man? I mean, you gave Florida State their only win. I mean, dude, that's sad. I mean, Cal could be already bowl eligible right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's just one of those games, man. It's kind of like, again, sorry, but Notre Dame and Northern Illinois. It's just one of those games that you just can't get off your mind. If you are a Cal fan, that Florida State game just has to be infuriating. Why? Like, everybody has beat up on Florida State this year. North Carolina won by like 35. I mean, dude, Cal, you lost to Florida State. Abysmal. And they should have beat Miami. I mean,
Nebraska.
Dude, Nebraska's done. I told you this, man. We called it. We did it the same time.
You called it. Yeah.
I was like, I said weeks ago, what if Nebraska loses out and misses a bowl game again? And I'm telling you, it looks like they're going to do it because they got Wisconsin and they got Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, I don't think they win either.
I mean, Nebraska has a horrible record against Wisconsin.
Yeah, Jim R says Nevy is cursed. Yeah. I'm convinced. They have to be cursed. I don't think Matt Rule's a bad coach. I don't. But the thing is that USC switched QBs. I mean, do you think if Miller Moss was at quarterback, Nebraska would have won, or do you don't think it would have mattered?
I mean, did you see the end of the game where it looked?
No, I didn't see the end of this. I did not actually see that much football last week. I tried to watch.
Nebraska was going for the game-tying touchdown. Last play of the game, it looked like pass interference on USC.
And they didn't call it. Figures.
They didn't call
I will say, college football refs, this has been a bad year for refs.
This has been a bad year for refs.
Dude, did you see the Missouri-Oklahoma game? At the end of that game, I did see that, or not Missouri-Oklahoma, but Missouri-South Carolina. There was a super bad target at the end of that game they didn't call. I mean, like, they're missing so many calls, dude. The dude was unconscious on the field.
I saw like the last 2 seconds of that game because I was enjoying my Brian Kelly meltdown.
It was like 3 minutes left.
No, yeah, that was before I tuned in.
Yeah, dude, it was an insane targeting call. Like, we've seen some weak targetings, like the Indiana guy getting knocked out of the Michigan game. Not even targeting, but this dude got literally decked on the field, right crown of the helmet, and they didn't call anything. The commentators were incredulous. They were like, what's going on? Refs suck. I'm sorry. I remember I had an argument one time with a guy because he was a ref or something in a comment section of a live stream. I don't even remember what it was. This dude was like, refs, that's one of the toughest jobs in the world, being a ref. It's a bang, bang play. You know, we make mistakes. I'm like, dude, I understand we're human beings. I understand we make mistakes. But there are some calls that are just so obvious, man, that you can't miss. You can't miss that. If you miss that, you're blind. Or you're I don't want to say it, but you're doing things you shouldn't do. You know, you got odds on the other team or something. You know what I'm saying? Something's wrong because I've just seen a lot of bad calls this year, more than usual. I mean, there's always bad calls, but this year's been the worst in a while. Terrible. So
Neil Brown lost all the goodwill left in Morgantown by losing to Baylor.
Dude, he should be fired, man. He's not good. And I love how I'm still seeing West Virginia fans are like, oh, we need Kurt Signetti. I'm like, dude, he got the contract extensions. Like, what are you talking about? You really going to pay more than $8 million a year? I mean, no. Oh, boy, it's hilarious.
Yeah, so this is the first time that Baylor's won in Morgantown ever. So
Wow.
not
I
good.
will say that kudos to Dave Aranda and Baylor. They fought back. They fought back from the abyss. And Scotty B, again, congrats. Your team is definitely decent, and they've clawed back. I mean, and he's not getting fired.
Right now, I hear you again. Yeah.
Oh, I cut out again. I have no idea. Chat seems to hear me. I don't know what's going on with that, but like I was saying, kudos to Scotty B's team, though, man. They fought back from the abyss, and Dave Aranda's job's safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see if they fire Neil Brown or not. We'll see.
Honestly, I don't know if they will. I mean, they just don't seem to care. But we'll see. I mean, he should be fired, especially since they fired Dana Holgerson with a better record.
Mm-hmm. JMU beats the ODU, so good job, old JMU.
Yeah, James Madison's definitely worse this year with Signetti gone, but still decent.
Maryland's not having a good year. We'll see if they can get a better quarterback.
Billy Edwards is all right. He's just not great.
Yeah.
He's all right.
Carolina beat Wake, so they
got this game, dude. I did watch this game. Probably why I missed a lot of those other games. I was really watching this one, especially with Georgia Tennessee. I was just like, who cares? So I flipped this game on. Dude, Carolina, man. This is what I can't stand about Carolina. They are so inconsistent in games, man. Mm-hmm. They tried to give this game away. They did. They actually actively tried to give it away. They had like 7 or 8 mistakes. Not even turnovers, but just stupid mistakes. Either drops, dumb penalties, just doing everything they possibly could to keep Wake in the game. Wake sucks. Wake is bad. Like, they're horrible. Because North Carolina last couple of weeks played very well against Virginia. I think it was Virginia. And Florida State. They played well against those teams. But this game, they did not play well. And that's what's frustrating. If they played well, like they did against Minnesota, well, not Minnesota, but Florida State. They had another game early in the year. I can't remember. They played good in that game. It wasn't Minnesota. They should have lost that game. I can't remember. But there's been 3 games this year, regardless, where North Carolina has actually looked like a top 25 team. And then all their other games, they've sucked. So they're decent. They got some talent. Amari Hampton's actually a stud. He's great. But the rest of the team is just mid. And every now and then they play okay, but then most of the time they just don't. They're going to make a bowl game. Happy for Matt Brown, happy for the Tar Heels, but they're just inconsistent. They're frustrating to watch.
Is Wake's probably the second worst team in the ACC? Them or Stanford, I guess.
Yeah.
Them, Stanford, Cal, I guess.
Florida State.
Yeah, I said second, so I'm yeah, of course.
Yeah. I don't know. I would have said Stanford, but I would have said Stanford, but they just won, so Wake's pretty bad, though.
All right, that's all for last week's.
Interesting week. I mean, not a lot of upsets. There was a couple, but...
Well, look, Kent State's not winning a game this year. They're getting blown out by Akron. So sorry, Mark.
Dude, if you're getting blown out by Akron, man, you are bad. Akron is not good. That's why when Tom Allen was celebrating, Tom Allen was celebrating and all that. I mean, it was, against the 4 overtime win with Akron. I knew it was over. Yeah, BYU losing to Kansas, that was huge, but that wasn't even that big of an upset. That wasn't BYU only favored by like 2. But I know what you mean. This game and Louisville Stanford, I mean, it was a couple, but nothing too crazy. But yeah, that was a big game there. 100%.
Bro, Notre Dame blew out Miami of Ohio and lost to Northern Illinois.
This is what I'm saying, Will. Effort problem. Notre Dame had an effort problem against Northern Illinois. They did not try. If they had have tried against Northern Illinois, they'd be undefeated right now, and you know it. This game was sad. It was a sad, pathetic performance. I mean, every game Notre Dame has played this year, even their worst game besides Northern Illinois, would have been good enough to beat Northern Illinois. But they didn't because they just didn't try. It's frustrating. Northern Illinois is not even good. They're not even good. But then people use that argument to say Notre Dame's a bad team, and it's like they're not a bad team. They've blown out everybody they played. They're good. It's just this game. I don't know why. After that A&M win, they let it get to their head for that one game.
NC State, Georgia Tech. I think Georgia Tech will beat NC State. NC State's been a
Georgia Tech's the
disaster
better
this year.
team. I mean, they
Yeah.
beat Miami. They're when healthy, Haynes King and the Georgia Tech's better team when he's in and he's back. So, yeah, I'll go with Georgia Tech, 31-20.
I'll go 34-17. Michigan State should blow out Purdue.
If Michigan State doesn't beat Purdue, then my Lord, man. I still don't know the Purdue-Illinois game. I still don't understand that. I don't.
Yeah.
Because other than that game, Purdue has been absolutely crap.
Mm-hmm.
So, Michigan State, 35 or 35-10. I mean, no, I shouldn't even be close. It should not be close.
I guess we could just get it out of the way. I want to see Notre Dame's offense play well against Army. Like, just get, like.
How nervous are you about this game? How nervous are you about?
I mean, I don't think Army can score. I mean, Notre Dame's defense has played so well. I just don't think Army will score more than 17 points. But I want
to be able to shut down Army's QB.
Yeah,
easily.
I want Notre Dame to put up. Yeah, like that would make me happy, Jim. That would make me happy. I was thinking 34 points. I want Notre Dame to score 34 points, and I want them to. I mean, they got complacent at the end of the Virginia game. They're like, all right, we're winning by a lot. And they didn't play that well down the stretch as I wanted them to. So
it's frustrating when a team lets up. You got to go full throttle to the end. Yeah. You don't lax at the end, man. I mean, it makes it look worse when you don't win by as much.
So I want to say 34 to 10 Notre Dame.
I'll go 38-17. I think Notre Dame will be fine. I mean, thing is, Notre Dame is Notre Dame. They don't always play that good. So, I mean, there's a shot. There's a shot things could go Ari, but I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
Like Notre Dame's defense is like has the most stops. Like stop rate, it has the highest stop rate. It passed Ohio State. The
thing is, against Northern Illinois, the defense wasn't that bad. They just didn't score.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But obviously, Ohio State's played Oregon, so like that definitely affects it. But still impressive that Notre Dame.
I still can't like Riley Leonard has 12 touchdowns on the season. That's not a lot, man.
Well, he's had a lot of rushing touchdowns too.
I know. I mean, he's done well, but I mean, like passing the ball, like he's not an NFL QB if he can't pass the ball more. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't just rely on his legs in the NFL. He's not Lamar. You know, he's going to have to be a more assertive passer and be able to do it more frequently if he's going to be an NFL.
Well, he's gotten better as the year's gone along.
He has. I'm just saying it's not enough yards and touchdowns overall.
The one thing I'm worried about is Bo Collins. He's been dropping a bit. Like he always has a couple of drops per game. It's like, come on, man. Like you get it getting open, but
yeah. I mean, Notre Dame's leading receivers 390 receiving yards. It's just not impressive, man. I'm sorry. It's just not impressive. You gotta have more of a passing attack. Running the ball is great, but you gotta have a passing attack.
Well, I was looking at Nathan Urbach. He's one of the Notre Dame writers. He's like, this defense is so good. Like, we don't have to worry about the offense having to do that well. So
yeah, except Northern Illinois happened. I mean, it's still like you got to have an offense. As long as Notre Dame scores, 30 points, they should win the next two games. But then when the playoff, I mean, they're going to have to be a better offensive team depending on who they got. I mean, if they have a team like Georgia or something like that, then, that they're going to face, I mean, they're going to have to do better on offense.
Well, hopefully get some turnovers.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm looking to the future for Notre Dame here. If they make the playoff, got to be better on offense. I mean, it's not going to matter if they miss the playoff, but
Virginia Tech and Duke, this will be interesting.
This right here proves everything that I've said about Duke all season.
The spread. They're
not even favored to win, dude. They got a 2-game better record than Virginia Tech, 2-game lead or record wise, but they're not even favored. I mean, I don't even know who to pick, honestly. Both teams are just kind of disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Duke's not disappointing because they're 7-3. They're having a good year, but I don't know what to say. People think they're better than they are. That's all I'm saying. Carolina should have beat Duke. Northwestern should have beat Duke. UConn should have beat Duke. I mean, come on, Duke. No, they're not good. They're not. I'm sorry. They're just not.
I mean, 22 touchdowns, 8 interceptions is pretty good from Malik Murphy, at least. So.
Their defense is mid.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know, man. I mean, if it was at Virginia Tech, I wouldn't hesitate. But, I mean, even all my Duke slander, with that being said, I mean, it's at – I don't know. I mean, who you got, man? I'll let you pick first. Virginia Tech's not been that good, honestly.
I'll go 24-17 Hokies. I'll pick the Hokies.
I'll go 21-20 Virginia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go with the Hokies, man. I mean, they're not that good, but I will say, man, that Virginia Tech game was a couple weeks ago. They blew that game, man. Well,
Syracuse, yeah.
Syracuse, my goodness, that game, man. I don't care that Drones was out. The backup blew the game, dude. He blew the game. He had it. Oh, boy, I'm done. Virginia Tech, I won.
And here we go. Indiana, Ohio State.
Okay. I love how that spread just keeps growing, man. It was 9.5. Now it's 13.5. What's going on? I literally saw it at 12 earlier today. Like, what's going on here? Ohio State they're by far the more talented team. I mean, without a doubt, they got 5 stars all over the field. Indiana doesn't have anybody. It's in the shoe. Indiana has played well enough this season and has the confidence, I believe, to win. But they're just – I think that there's just too many things stacked against them here. The only thing that I'm like, okay, Ohio State is Michigan next week. They have Michigan next week. Look ahead, but with Michigan being as bad as they've been this year, Ohio State might be all right.
They have game day.
I don't know. Indiana is not surprising anybody. They're not fooling anybody. Ohio State recognizes this is a top 5 matchup. Ron Day's already talked about it a bunch this week. They know Indiana's legit, and they're going to do everything they possibly can to stomp them into the ground. This isn't like Nebraska where there was, they hung with Ohio State because Ohio State didn't take them seriously. I think Ohio State wins 31-21. I think Indiana has a chance. I think they can win. If they did win, I would be surprised. I wouldn't be just outright shocked. They can win. It's one of their best chances to do it in forever outside of 2020. But I think Ohio State will win in the end. They're just too talented.
I want Indiana to win, man. I just don't think they can protect Rourke, man. I just don't think their offense will be able to function as well as it has been. I mean, maybe
their O-line's good, but not when they're going up against the best.
Yeah, like they really struggled against Michigan. I was just
Michigan does have the best D-line in the country. Ohio State's is only 22nd best statistically. Yeah. But still, your point is absolutely true.
And I just don't think they can cover Smith and Tate. I just think they're too good. So I'm going to go 42-17 Ohio State.
Now, if Indiana loses by that much, are they still in the playoff?
Mark says no.
That's not fair, Mark. Come on, Mark. No. Are you kidding me, Mark? Okay, Mark, I get it. I understand. But that's not fair. 42-17 should still get them in. 31-21 would be better, but –
so one of the members of the committee, the playoff committee, was talking to Dennis Dodd, and they're like, "We look at teams that we put in the playoff. Can this team win the national championship?" That's what their main criteria is, looking at the team.
Okay, so Georgia's got a better chance to win the title than Indiana does. Well, okay, is Notre Dame bounced then? Because, Notre Dame, they lost to Northern Illinois, so, I don't think they can win a title. Okay. It's a brand thing. It's because Notre Dame's a brand and Indiana's not. You know what I'm saying? It is such a thing as brand bias. Okay. Again, Georgia lost to Ole Miss by 18. They're still in the playoff. Okay, they're still in the playoff. Does that matter? I mean, I really don't think that should matter, man. I don't. I mean, it'd be different if Indiana had a loss at the beginning of the season or something like UCLA and then losing to Ohio State. They'd be done then. But they've won all their games. I don't think no matter how much they lose, it should matter. I would say it'd be different if there were still like a one-loss Bama or a one-loss Tennessee in the mix, but they're not. All these teams have 2 losses. They've all self-destructed in the SEC. So I don't know. Yeah, honestly,
Jeffrey, I think
if Notre Dame lost again, it would help Indiana. I mean, it would. But
I mean,
hope
Jeffrey,
Notre Dame and Indiana gets in.
If like Indiana had Ohio State like week 3, it would help. I think that would have helped better than have them now, because then Indiana would like look
It
better.
would have risen back up. Yeah.
Yeah, they can go back up because it's how you look down the stretch. I just think that's unfortunate.
The thing is, though, is that Indiana, okay. All right. Penn State lost to Ohio State. I know it was close, but they lost to Ohio State, and they barely dropped. And it was at home. This game.
Well, if they won't, they'll barely drop if it's close. Like Indiana will barely drop if it's close. I'm telling you, they won't. It's going to be about like how they look.
I just want them to compete, man. But
if they compete, I don't think they'll drop that far. If
it's
they compete,
just one
I don't
game,
think
though, man.
If they compete, I don't think they'll drop. But I don't think they can compete. I hope I'm wrong, but
I mean, so Indiana, according to the ESPN FBI predictor, has a 97% chance to make the college football playoff. 97% chance. I mean, I just don't see how it could swing that much because they lose by 20 to Ohio State. Does anybody remember when Ohio State got blown out against Michigan and they still made the college football playoff? Does anybody remember that? Do you remember that? I remember that. Okay, I remember that. They got murdered. Ohio State got murdered, and they absolutely got in the playoff with a blowout loss to Michigan. And wasn't it at home? I think it was at home. So
it was at home.
No,
it was at home.
I don't agree. Indiana gets blown out against Ohio State. They should still. I mean, if it's like 60-0, okay, maybe, but still. Even 42-17, I don't think so. I just disagree. I don't care that Indiana's schedule has been easy. All these other teams have multiple losses. It's set up perfectly for Indiana and Notre Dame and all these teams to get in. The SEC beat themselves up. They did. Yeah, I agree. This is the point. Jim says if Ohio State had the exact same schedule as Indiana and they were 11-1 with one loss to like Michigan or whatever, they get in. They would. 100%. Because it's Ohio State. There wouldn't even be a debate. They wouldn't say anything. They'd be like, oh, the schedule is easy. But you know what? They blew everybody out. Ohio State's good. They blew everybody out. It's all good. I mean, does anybody remember that Indiana beat Nebraska by 49? Does anybody remember that they beat Michigan State by 37? Does anybody remember they beat UCLA by 30? They beat these teams by more than Ohio State did. They beat these teams by more than Penn State did. So, again, I don't care. I mean, honestly, if Indiana barely beat Michigan State and Nebraska and Washington and all these teams, then I would be like, okay. It's like BYU. They're okay. But they blew these teams out. This game should not matter, is all I'm saying. That's the hill I'm willing to die on. Now, you take the IU hat off and just say, like, I'm not a fan, whatever. I'm serious. Like, this game should not matter. It doesn't matter. How much they lose, they should get in. If they don't get in, then the playoff, you know what it is. It's the R word. It's absolutely biased toward the SEC. And again, I'm an Alabama fan. I want Alabama to make the playoff, but I don't agree. I just don't.
So we'll see. We'll see if IU can hold their own. We're hoping they do.
What's Notre Dame's strength of schedule? Do you know like what Notre Dame's?
It's because of the A&M win. Honestly, it's because of the A&M win.
That's it.
But it's not good. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that honestly, probably based off like metrics and like rankings or whatever. I mean, if you compared Notre Dame's schedule and Indiana's schedule, they're not obvious. They're very similar. Mm-hmm. Like Notre Dame is the better win, but Indiana's got like accumulation of decent wins. Like again, Washington, Michigan, Nebraska. I mean, Nebraska's just. See, this is another thing. I honestly think this should matter too, right? So just say that Texas A&M had fallen apart, right? Just say they'd fallen apart this year. Well, when Notre Dame beat A&M, they were good, right? They were good. Well, same thing with Indiana. Like, people are saying the Nebraska win is no good anymore because Nebraska's falling apart. Well, when Indiana beat Nebraska, Nebraska was 5-1, and they were ranked in the coaches poll, and they had that Colorado win. Now Nebraska stinks, but back when Indiana played them, they were good. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I think that should matter too, honestly. I do. But, of course, it doesn't. It's only IU that it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I'm done. Sorry.
We'll see. We'll see how IU does.
Just compete. Just compete. I don't have to win. Just compete.
Yeah. Miami should beat Wake Forest.
Florida and Ole Miss. Hey. If they lost, that would just be an epic collapse.
Yeah.
It would be an epic collapse for Miami if they lost. They still got Florida, man. They still got Florida. Right? They got Florida, right? They played them?
Miami?
Oh, they played them earlier in the year. I had a brain fart. Florida State. Sorry. I'm getting off the deep end. Sorry. My bad. Okay. Miami, it'd be great if they lost again. It would help Indiana.
Yeah.
Don't ask me. I know they played Florida early in the year. They have played them later in the year before, though. But, yeah, they do it. They got Florida State. If they lose to Wake or Florida State, it'd be hilarious. It'd be hilarious. Absolutely.
And then Ole Miss, Florida. It would help Indiana if Florida won. It would help Indiana.
Yes, I'm looking at these games. The more losses these teams accumulate, the better it is for IU. Honestly, it really is. Does Florida have a chance, Will, in your opinion?
Yeah, they have a chance.
Yeah.
But I think Ole Miss wins, but I think Florida has a chance.
I'm close. I honestly am really close. But I do – Lagway, man. I think Lagway's good. I like his play. I think he's good. If this was a night game, you know what I'm saying? If it was a night game, I'd probably pull it, but it's noon. So Ole Miss 27-24.
Yeah, I just think Ole Miss's offense is better than LSU's, so I think they'll score more. It's not
keep
elite.
in mind, Ole Miss lost to LSU.
I know, but LSU fell apart.
And that's my point. Like, Nebraska fell apart. That's the thing. Ole Miss lost.
Well, I'm saying that
LSU, and they lost to Kentucky, but they're still in the playoff.
I'm saying that the LSU team they played then isn't as good as the LSU team Florida's playing now. Like, I'm saying, like, LSU was better then than they are now. That's why I was saying.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree. Teams change. I still think when you beat them should matter. I agree.
So I'm going to go – I'll go 38-24 Ole Miss.
Yeah. I mean, no one ever looks at that. I mean, you have to look at the way that team was when that team beat them. Teams do change. I mean, it absolutely would be a disservice if A&M completely fell apart and went like 4-9 or 8 this year, or whatever, 5-7 or 4-8, 3-9, and to say that when Notre Dame beat them that they weren't good. That's just the way it works. People are always going to look at how a team is now, and that's absolutely ridiculous. It's like in basketball. Have you ever seen, like, for some teams' resumes where you get a big win, like in November, that's like, oh, it's a good win. It's a pretty good win. But then, like, by the end of the season, it's like your best win. And, like, do you think that team beats that team now? Probably not. Like we saw with Clemson, Alabama, right? Clemson beat Alabama in early part of the basketball season last year, but then in the tournament, Bama beat Clemson. It was a good game, but you know what I mean. Like, Bama got better than Clemson did. I mean, Clemson did have a great year. I mean, not going to lie, but still. I think Bama would beat Vandy right now. They would beat Vanderbilt right now. I mean, just –
yeah. I mean, they wouldn't overlook them right now. That's the difference.
Yes. If they played right now this week, they'd win. But they're not going to play them. So everybody's like, oh, Vanderbilt's better than Bama. No, they're not. They're not better. They just beat them.
They are better than Auburn, though. They are better than Auburn.
Yes, they are better than Auburn. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with that. But, yeah, like if Florida beats Ole Miss, it doesn't mean Florida's a better team. I mean, it's the same argument. I mean, Now, I mean, LSU, I think, is a better team than Florida, but LSU's falling apart. It's two different things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, LSU's a better team, but they're playing like garbage now. But, yeah, I think Ole Miss survives regardless. I think they survive.
SMU should beat up on Virginia.
Should. I mean, probably 14-point win.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting game
Illinois,
on Peacock. Illinois Rutgers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it doesn't matter for anything, but still, it's an interesting game nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know.
I'll go 28-27 Rutgers. I'll go Rutgers.
It's a 50-50. I mean, Rutgers has been disappointing because they actually could have had a great record this year because they had a very easy schedule like Indiana, but they lost a couple games they should have probably won. But they are turning it around. They've won their last two. I don't know, man. 28-27 Rutgers, whatever. Fine. They do have a better home environment than Maryland, so okay.
We have Maryland, Iowa here. The basketball environment for Maryland was good at least against Marquette, but yeah.
Yeah, Maryland basketball did play good. They actually should have won. Derek Queen, who Maryland took from IU, Indiana thought was going to get him. Derek Queen's good. He's good. Going to be really impactful for them this year. I don't know if their team's going to be like one of the contenders in the Big Ten or anything, but they are solid. Should be a tournament team. Yeah, Iowa. I mean, they're Iowa. They're going to win 8 games, man. That's what they do. So give me the Hawkeyes 28-20. I mean, they're going to win 8 games. 8-4. Good old Iowa. 8-4.
I'll go 31-24 Iowa. Yeah.
I mean, you got to admit, man, Iowa is always 8-4. I mean, you remember that one conversation I had with Austin? Like,
they've had a couple decent years, but they're usually 8-4. Yeah.
You remember that one year though when Iowa went like 10-2, won the West or whatever, and then the next year they went like 9-4, and then we did the top 10 teams that regressed, or so we had that top 10 thing or whatever, or top 10 disappointing teams, and Austin said Iowa was a disappointment, and I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Iowa is the same every year. Just because they went 10-2 that one year doesn't mean anything, man. They're still 8-4 every freaking year. Okay, they're the same team every year. So yeah, like this year's team, they're not great, man. They're a little bit better on offense, a little bit worse on defense. It's still 8-4. I mean, that's what they do. It's hilarious.
We have 2 7-3 teams here, UConn and Syracuse, but I mean
Syracuse should win unless Kyle McCord throws 5 picks or something. I mean, it should.
Good year for UConn though, man. Maybe they'll join a conference.
Yeah, I mean, what conference do you think they should join?
Maybe ACC.
The ACC?
I mean, it makes sense geographically, or Big 12. I guess.
Is their stadium big enough though? Like, don't you have to have like a minimum requirement at the least, like with your stadium or something? I don't know. Like, can I just remember like the whole thing with Gonzaga? People were saying like Gonzaga joining the conference. Like, did they have enough? Like, all around. Like, I didn't know. Like, they have enough requirements. I don't know. I'm not in that business. I have no idea what you have to have. But like, I don't know if UConn has it in football. Like, do they have enough, money in investment or whatever to actually be in the ACC? I don't know. I mean, I would say the American Conference. They could be in the American Conference for football. They could do that. I mean, they were in the American Conference in basketball. So why not football?
Maybe.
Yeah, North Carolina, BC. Man, what a game on the CW. Man, I'll be tuning into that one during the timeouts of the
Did you see Castellanos quit?
No, I didn't see that. Did he quit?
He entered the portal. He quit mid-year.
What happened to Bill O'Brien's culture?
Oh
no. I did not see that.
Yeah.
Okay. You know who I'm picking?
It's still only a 3-point spread, though, even with the backup.
Give me the Tar Heels in Chestnut Hill, man. Give me the Tar Heels. 28-27. Castellanos is the difference. I probably would have picked BC with Castellanos. Wow. Are you serious?
He gone.
I did not see that. I'm looking it up right now, dude. Thomas. Castellanos, BC. He's done. After losing the starting job. That's why. Did you notice that?
I didn't notice that.
He got benched. That's why. Wow. That's unreal. Well, yeah, I'm going Carolina.
I guess I'll go Carolina, but I don't have confidence in them. Because they're,
Martin Hampton's fantastic.
Yeah.
Criswell has been getting it done overall. 12 touchdowns, 3 picks. I mean, he's just been getting it done. I mean, he's not great, but hey, for a third-string quarterback, it's good enough.
I think Georgia will beat a Don Brownless UMass comfortably. This is Cupcake Week in the SEC.
Yeah, there was a few last week.
Here we go. Here we go. Well, Florida. Oh, Charleston Southern sucks though. Charleston Southern is bad for FCS. So
Florida State will win.
Yeah,
I think
they're 1-10. Oh.
They'll win.
Yeah,
they lost though. If they lost, that would make Cal look worse, man.
Yeah,
I still can't believe Cal lost to them. That's unreal.
JMU App State. That's a fun game.
App State's having their worst year in a long time. I mean, they were like the bastion of consistency in the Sun Belt. Not having a good year. 4-5, 2-4, but I'll go JMU. App State's tough place to play, but they're not having a good year.
Yeah. Arizona, TCU.
Arizona did play well last week against Houston, but that's the thing. Like, one week they look good, next week they look like dumpster fire. I don't know. TCU, I guess.
Yeah.
31-20. Texas
should win.
I mean, Kentucky's had a couple games this year. I mean, the Ole Miss game, the Georgia game, but yeah, Texas will win. Yeah, Jim Morrison, nice visit if you went to App State. Yeah, that is a underrated place.
Here we go, Penn State, Minnesota.
There's a chance. This is like Ole Miss, Florida. This is like Ole Miss, Florida. Yeah. Who's more likely, Florida beating Ole Miss or Minnesota beating Penn State in your mind?
It's close. It's close.
It's similar. Both games give me similar vibes.
I'll go Minnesota, Penn State.
Okay. I'm sorry, man, but I'm hoping Penn State loses. I hope they lose because that helps
Notre Dame. It would help Notre Dame.
It would help IU. It would help Notre Dame.
Notre Dame could get the 5 seed. If Penn State loses, Notre Dame could still get the 5 seed.
Can PJ Fleck row that boat?
Come on,
Can he row the boat? Can he row that boat, man? I mean, a 12.5-point dog. I mean, that's steep, man. But I mean, Minnesota's had their moments this season. They've had their moments. I don't know if I can pull it though. I mean, I think they can do it. They beat USC, which obviously doesn't mean much, but
Mark said that the gap between Ohio State and Indiana is the same as the gap with Indiana and Minnesota, which is.
Wait a minute. The gap. Wait, say that again.
The gap between Ohio State and Indiana is the same as the gap between Indiana and Minnesota.
Okay, so is that a compliment to Indiana or not?
I guess so. I don't know.
What does that even mean? Like, at first I thought you said that the gap between Ohio State and Indiana is the same as Penn State, Minnesota. I was like, what? Wait, you said the gap between Ohio State and Indiana is the same as Indiana, Minnesota. I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
Yeah.
Hey, man, Marks is not like Indiana. I'm telling you, man. He's one of those, man. He's one of those IU haters. I'm like, no, Mark. No. I mean, he doesn't hate him as much as some of these guys, but I can tell, like, Mark's not an IU fan. Like, I know why, but come on, man. I mean, give him some love. Give him some love. I don't know. I mean, I hope Minnesota wins, man, but I don't pick with my heart. I mean, I have no.
Yeah, I'll go 27-10 Penn State.
I have no feelings toward Penn State. I just want them to lose. 24-21 Penn State.
Yeah.
I think Minnesota can win. I picked both Ole Miss and Penn State to barely win, but there is a good chance one of them goes down. And if it does, that significantly helps Indiana and Notre Dame and even Alabama. So that would be good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Arizona State BYU. This is another game that
Mm-hmm.
significantly helps the fringe teams, right? Like get BYU, out of
Mm-hmm.
any chance of an at-large. I think they already
Mm-hmm.
kind of did that, but you just don't want any chance.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you think BYU rebounds? I mean, the thing is,
No.
BYU's better at home, man. They're
I
better at
think
home.
Arizona State is playing better than BYU right now.
I'm going Arizona State.
Mm-hmm.
34-27.
Nah. I'll go 31-24.
Yeah.
Arizona State.
I think Arizona State wins.
Levis played pretty well down the stretch. Scadaboo's a good back. Mm-hmm.
I can't believe, man, that Kansas lost, man. I did not even see that game. I went to bed. I woke up the next day and BYU lost, and I'm like, yes, this helps IU. I mean, I'm literally like, anything that helps IU at this point. I'm like, come on. I'm sorry, BYU. I don't dislike you, but like, man, I mean, like, anything that helps IU and squeak Bama in there as well. I don't care. Like, come on.
We have Colorado, Kansas. Can Kansas do it again?
They could. I mean, do you think
only
so?
2.5? Only really 2.5.
Colorado's playing really good.
It's at Arrowhead though. I don't know if that helps Kansas or not because
Kansas they beat BYU and Iowa State, right? Or who's the other one? Who was it? It wasn't Iowa State, was it?
I can pull it up.
I know they lost to Kansas State in a close one. They almost beat Kansas State.
They beat Iowa State and BYU.
Yeah, I was right. Iowa State and BYU. You got to admit, I'm just saying, you got to admit that Kansas is good. Actually, I mean, like I don't even know like loose definition of good. Like I don't really know, how loosely you use that word, but I'm using it pretty loosely here. Because I realize that they're 4-6, and I realize that they have played a lot of bad football. But overall, Kansas football is decently good. I mean, when you look at who they've played, right? Like, they lost to Illinois by 6, UNLV by 3, West Virginia by 4, Arizona State by 4, Kansas State by 2, and TCU by 11. I mean, that to me kind of proves something. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, did you see that schedule? All their losses besides TCU are by 1 score or less. It kind of reminds you of Nebraska, right?
Yeah.
With that 3-9 crap. It really does. I mean, think about it. They lost to Arizona State by 4. We know how good they're playing. UNLV's been very solid this year. Lost by 3. Illinois, say what you want, but they lost by 6. I mean, all of these games against, really solid teams. Kansas State, I mean, they've fallen apart, but 2-point loss. I think Kansas is decent. I don't know, man. I do feel like Colorado's kind of playing on another level though right now. They are.
I just think Shador's they haven't gotten pressure on Shador. That's been the problem.
I'll go 31-28 Colorado, but I think Kansas can win. I'm picking all these teams to barely win.
I'll go 35-21. I'll have a little more confidence in Dion.
Because I do think one of these games is going to be an upset. I don't know if it's this one or the Penn State game or the Ole Miss game. One of them's going down. I didn't pick any of them to go down, but.
All right, Nebraska, here it is. Moment of truth.
If they do it again, man. If they do it again. What do you think, man? Do you think at home, in front of the fans, the sellout crowd? I don't know, man. I don't. They don't. Do you have any confidence in Nebraska?
No, I'm picking Wisconsin.
Wisconsin fired their OC. Longo.
Longo will end up somewhere else, man. I feel like. I'm
31-27 Wisconsin.
I'm picking Wisconsin 24-21. They're going to lose on a last-second field goal. Agonizing one-possession loss.
Nebraska needs an exorcism. Dude, I can't pick Nebraska. Like I said, I'm going Wisconsin, man. 31-27. You can't pick Nebraska until they prove they can make a bowl game. You ain't picking them. They haven't made a bowl game since 2016. I'm not picking Nebraska. I'm not doing it. Wisconsin. The play.
We have the big game.
The band is on the field.
The band is on the field. The band is on the field.
Dude, you got to admit, that's one of the most epic end of the game moments in sports history, man. I sometimes watch that. Just, every now and then I'll just pull that game up, man, and watch the end. It's hilarious.
14.5 is a lot, man.
I don't agree with that spread. I would go more like 8 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
I think Cal wins 28-21. Stanford will cover.
I'll go 31-21. Mm-hmm.
Oh man, Tech and Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's 3-7, man. And the Tech's only favored by 3.5. I'll go Tech because Oklahoma State can't win anything.
Mm-hmm.
People are saying this is Neil Brown's last stand. How many Neil Brown's last stands have there been, Will? It's been like 80 of them. I mean, what are you thinking here, man? UCS favor. When UCS favor, they usually lose.
That's fair.
Does Neil Brown get the job done? The funny thing is, dude, West Virginia fans want Neil Brown to get the job done. Most don't. They want him to lose. Dude, have you noticed that how many bad statements Neil Brown's made this year that have irritated West Virginia fans? Every week he just keeps saying something just dumb that is making them mad. It's hilarious. And hey, Scotty B's correct.
That's
West
fair.
Virginia can't win at home. Can't win at
home. I think
home,
UCF, they get their act together. They have Utah next week. I think they'll win those 2 games and make a bowl. I feel like they always finish 6-6 under Malzahn, so I'll go
31-24 UCF.
I'll go 31-28 UCF.
Have we disagreed on any game this week? I don't think we have. We've picked the same teams, man. I'm not being daring today.
I mean, there's just not that many games. Oh, yeah, I think we have agreed on most games.
I don't think we've disagreed on one game yet. I mean, I just can't pick West Virginia, dude. They're playing like crap.
Pitt, Louisville. This is going to be 2 teams with bad vibes
dude,
right now.
Austin is going to be so mad if Louisville loses again. I mean, Tyler Shutt's been good, but if they had to beat Stanford, I wouldn't even probably hesitate. I would not hesitate to pick Louisville because I really do think Pitt is overrated. Still do. It's going to be close. I'll go Louisville 28-24.
You know what? I'll go Pitt. Why not?
Okay, I was like, we're going to disagree.
At some point. I'll go with
We're going to disagree. I'm giving Austin's team one more shot. They lose, though. Kentucky week.
I'll go 30. I'll go 38-35 Pitt. I think it'll be a
all right. It's going to be interesting.
We got Missouri, Mississippi State. Mississippi State has played teams closer with
Missouri's only favored by 7. Missouri's going to win. As long as Brady Cook's playing, they're going to win.
Yeah, you're right.
Boise's going to win.
Oh, we have to pick this game, the Washington State. I think Washington State, they'll be. Oregon State's not good this year. They'll win.
Washington State will win 34-20. Oregon State was playing decent at first, but they fell apart.
Yeah, they fell apart.
Washington State did just lose to New Mexico, though. But I think Washington State wins.
I'll go 41-17. Yeah.
I think Baylor
wins. The Beavers kind of look like they quit.
They did. Oregon State quit. I think Baylor wins too. They're confident, playing well. Houston's just bleh.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go Baylor.
Baylor, yeah.
Bama, don't lose. Just don't lose. I don't see it. Oklahoma's not very good.
Oklahoma's offense is
34-17 Bama.
I'll go 38-10. Yeah,
you take out the Oklahoma crowd, then it's over. A&M Auburn, though, man. A&M Auburn.
2.5.
You pick an
2.5.
upset. I mean, you don't want an upset, though.
No, I don't, Jeffrey. No.
You want strength of schedule. I know. Like, I've been rooting for Michigan, all these teams now. I want, like, come on, build the strength of schedule. So I see what you're doing. I feel
Take the crowd out of it, A&M. Take the crowd out of it.
The funny thing about it as well is I've never had to feel this before because, like, Alabama just always makes the playoff. Like, Indiana in the play, like, I'm rooting for teams to lose. Like, I'm sorry. I just want Indiana to get in, man. Come on.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I see what you're talking about, though. Like, with all the strength of schedule nonsense.
Yeah, like now you're doing it too.
Like, I never did that with Bama because it didn't matter. Yeah. Like, Bama was just in. I mean, every year they would get in. Like, it was like it don't matter. It's hilarious, though. Auburn 28-27 says Troy V. He's
Auburn freaking always knows how to. They blow games so much, though.
But they always get one win. Every year they get one win.
You're right.
Every year. One team. They beat one team. But the thing is, they got Bama the week after, man. I mean, like, at Bama, it's not in Jordan-Hare. I don't know, man. This is stupid, man. I mean, I just want to pick A&M, man. But I'm just like, I don't know. There's a chance. Every year, Auburn does this.
All right, 38-10. If A&M's going to win, they'll win big. So I'll go 38-10. It'll be a close Auburn win or a big A&M win.
31-20 A&M.
Yeah.
I think A&M is too good, but again, it's the SEC, man. Auburn always wins one. So I'd rather them do it against A&M and Bama. If they did it against Bama, that would just be sad.
Iowa State will beat Utah. Utah's bad.
They should win. I'll go 28-17.
Yeah.
Utah's offense.
I'll go 31-3. Vandy, LSU.
Man, you're hoping Vandy wins. I know you are. I mean, like, dude, you're just hoping LSU never wins again. I don't know, man. I mean, I'm thinking, like, I think Vanderbilt's kind of crumbling, though. They're not playing as well. I mean, not bad, but they're definitely not where they were with Bama. It's at night, man, though. I mean, well, LSU throwing.
It's at night, but how? Like, won't it be half empty?
You don't think they'll show up for their team? You know, like the fans.
Well, they're mad that they're not playing well. They're apathetic.
Yeah, they could get a win over powerhouse Vandy. I mean, you know, hey, we could get revenge on Bama. We beat the team that beat them. I mean, 28-24 LSU. I can't pick against them at home at night against Vanderbilt. I mean,
this would be the ultimate nail in Kelly's cough, man. If they lose,
imagine it if the nail will be in the ground 6 feet. Okay. I mean, it would be. I mean, Brian Kelly might get fired after that game. Do you think Vandy wins? I mean, I'm picking LSU, but I can see it. You've almost like you're almost with just your smile is persuading me to go Vandy. I mean, literally, but I'm going LSU. Yeah, LSU got creamed by Bama, but Bama killed it. Like Bama was on fire. The LSU stuck with Kelly. True.
Yeah, I think next year they'll fire him. They lost to Troy one year, right? Did they lose to Troy at home at night?
Yeah, I think they did.
I think that was 2017. I think.
Yeah, they did. I think I remember that. Yeah.
No, I can't. I want to so bad, but I'll pick LSU to win. 27-24. I think it'll be close.
I wanted to pick Vandy, but I just don't think Vandy's that good, man. That Bama win was definitely not. Jackson's
they still
saying
almost
pick
beat
Vandy.
Texas, though. but I can't. Not at LSU at night. If it was a day game, I would pick Vandy though. If it was a day
Dude,
game, I would.
if we're wrong, then I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna be mad.
I'm gonna be
I'm gonna be mad.
man.
Cincy, K-State.
Both teams trending down.
K-State has not been playing well in the past few weeks at all.
Yeah.
But I picked Cincy a lot this year for Sorsby, and it's gone wrong. I've picked them a lot, and they haven't won. But, I mean, Kansas State is not playing well.
Mm-hmm.
Should have lost to Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
That night, I don't know, man. I mean, these games are not easy to pick. They're not easy to pick.
I'll go
27-24 Kansas State.
Yeah, I'll go 30-27 Kansas State.
It was at Cincy, I'd pick them.
All right, last chance for UCLA to make a bowl. I mean, I guess USC could be
SC because they changed QBs. 31-27.
UCLA, it'll be close. I think this will be close.
UCLA's playing better.
Yeah,
they're playing better. Hope they win, actually, for resume.
Yeah,
but again, you got me on this resume game, man. Yeah, but USC, I think, will win. I think
USC will win. I'll go 27-24 SC.
I like how it's a 10:30 game on NBC. 10:30. That's nuts.
Big Ten after dark.
I always love how they call it that after dark when it's already after dark at 8 o'clock. It cracks me up. It's like 7 and 8 o'clock's after dark, right? But then if it's 10:30, it's after dark. Okay. It's funny.
I'll watch this game probably.
Yeah, I might see some of it. If it's good, maybe I'll stay up. But if not, I'm hitting the hay, man.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, Deshaun Foster for UCLA has done a good job, kind of turning around a bit. He was like on the chopping block for some after year one. He's not going to get fired.
No, he won't get fired now.
Especially if he wins. I mean, he's not going to get fired anyway. But if he beats USC, that'd be good. That'd be good.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, it's not a great week of games outside of Indiana, Ohio State, and a few others, but there's a lot of sneaky games. I mean, it depends on if the Penn State Minnesotas and, the Ole Miss Floridas and even Notre Dame Armies are good games. It depends. If they're good games, it can be a really good week, but if they're all blowouts, then no. I think there will be every week there is a couple of really surprising games. It always is. So that's why people say it's a bad slate. Don't ever say it. There's always going to be some good games. Lincoln Riley's in trouble. Yeah, he's not going anywhere though, man.
He has that $88 million buyout. Yeah.
USC's not going to be Jimbo and A&M. They're not doing it. They're not going to do it.
Do you think Jimbo? West Virginia fans want Jimbo. Do you think they should? Do you think if Jimbo could do well? I mean, I just think Jimbo's offense got figured out.
Yeah, it's kind of. I feel it's the same way with like Tom Crean in basketball. Like Tom Crean when he was at Marquette and early on in Indiana, his offense was kind of cutting edge, and it was new and stuff, and he did great. But then at the end at Indiana, especially at Georgia, it just didn't do anything. I feel like some coaches have a style and then it gets outdated. And if you don't, you don't change your style or like keep updating it to be cutting edge, then, it's not going to improve. Yeah, that's an interesting comparison. Jimbo at West Virginia would be like Gus Malzahn at UCF. Fair. I mean, I don't think Jimbo would win a lot at West Virginia. I think he'd go 6-6, 7-5 every year. Honestly, I mean, I don't think it'd be great, but I mean, who else are they going to get? They're not getting Kurt Cignetti. That's off the table. It's not happening. Kurt Cignetti's not going there. I mean, Indiana's made sure that 90% of programs can't get him now. So, I mean, maybe Jimbo would work, man. Thing is, man, is that Jimbo going to get another big buyout, man. He'll get fired again.
Well, people said since it's his alma mater, like he wouldn't have like.
He's got so much money, he doesn't have to ever coach again, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he just relax for the rest of his life. But hey, who knows, man? Who knows?
All right. Well, Jeffrey, you kind of have a mullet coming in.
I gotta get a haircut, man. I've been busy. Everybody keeps talking about it. I gotta fix that. But yeah, I'm not Mike Gundy, man. I'm not Mike Gundy.
You kind of look like it though now, man.
Okay. I mean, Gundy's is like down here though, man. Well, it'll probably be gone soon. It'll be gone soon. Jackson says Jimbo has the hot tub.
man.
Oh my God. Scotty B says,
Yeah, at least you're not
start as old as Gundy.
At least you're not 59, yeah. Or is
Troy
that how
B says
old he is
business
now?
in front, party in the back. Okay.
Yeah.
True. I don't think I'm that crazy though. I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not into the hot tub stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely appreciate everybody for being here tonight. It's a fun show. Definitely, hopefully we can do it next week, and hopefully Indiana can win. I don't see it, but hopefully they can win, and hopefully North Carolina and Alabama and Notre Dame take care of business. Hopefully it's a great week on the home front. But good luck to everybody's team, though. And can Neil Brown save his job? There's a lot of storylines. Is Brian Kelly done? Is he over? Is it all finished? Oh, man.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Have a good night, everybody.